the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Stop. So we dealing with what you wear, and we dealing with the woman. He said that the woman should not wear that which pertains to a man, right? What pertains to a man? If you was to go into a restaurant and you wanted to use the bathroom, which one would you go into? Huh? How would you know it's the woman? The dress. So how would you know not to go in the other one? What does he have on? The man. Pants. So yeah. You ain't probably heard that. Read it again. Let it soak in her spirit. Read.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Are y'all married?
No.
You know how we married right now?
In your eyes. In God's eyes, are you married?
Well, we had sex, so yeah.
Oh my goodness. Give me that. Give me that. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, sis. It's all good. That's what we are. We being blunt. We ain't held back, right? So we gonna show you that road to what? Repentance. So watch this. Give me Exodus 22 right quick. Watch this.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed.
So if he come, he entice you, he speaks smooth words, all that, right? Tell you how much he interested in you, right? Go ahead.
And lie with her.
He do what?
And lie with her.
He do what y'all just said. We ain't gonna use that word, right? We're gonna use that one. Hey, right. He has sex with her. Let's see the next step. Now, what's her name? Marcus, you gotta do this. We gonna make sure if somebody get Marcus' number, we on Marcus' head after the day. Read.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
No, he might think about it.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
No, he might ask his man's name, but she good for me.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
That's right. Bring it out.
Oh, man. Uh-oh. So now, guess what that proves? That proves that y'all bumping and grinding is not marriage. Why? Because the Lord said once he had sex with her, now he must do what?
Shall surely endow her to be his wife.
Now he has to start the process of being married. Right? That's what the Bible does. It clears up all confusion. So this is the thing. Y'all might think y'all gotta go and prepare. Give me that. You got that paper? Y'all might think y'all might have to go and have this illustrious wedding, right? Had a dove flying off or pigeons, whatever you can afford, right? Watch this though. Watch this.
So, Ridge is already...
Y'all already had the first step. You spit his game. Y'all had sexual intercourse, right? This is what you gotta do, bro. Read.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7 and verse 13. Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand, and gave her to be wife to Tobias.
So now, in old times, the father would do what? Would give a blessing for us to marry his wife, right? But we know because of the curses that a lot of times the women that we deal with, what? Their father's not around, not in the house. Right. They don't have a strong male figure that can dictate if you deserve their daughter or not.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, your brethren, your fellow believers of this truth. Shalom to you, few sisters. Shalom to the elect. You know, this group of the IUIC, and I'm going to go straight to the lesson, but this group of the IUIC, they push more and more of a Christian doctrine. You know what I'm saying? And if they're going to go all about the laws and everything else, who's playing the stand-in of the father? Is it the Bishop Nathaniel? Now, when you look at marriage in Western culture, what do you see? You see a whole bunch of women who sleep around, right? And then they put on a white dress, and then they go and say, hey, I want to get married. And now that I'm married, because this group teaches that you must go to the courthouse. No wonder they have that 501c3. You must go to the courthouse and get the papers. This is what this group teach. I didn't put it in there, but look it up. So we're trying to get away from Western culture in the way things are moving. And, at the end of the day, if you're a prophet of the Lord, you have sex with your woman, that's your wife. You don't need to go down to some goddamn courthouse, man. Especially in this society. This is why the Messiah came, number one. Because there's things that you can't keep. If you go lay down, with a woman and try and get the token of the virginity, the dowry in the marriage chamber and all that, good luck with that. Good luck. I guarantee you'll go to that church and a father will give the daughter away who's been given away 50 times over. Anyway, on to the lesson. Exodus 22 and 16. I'm gonna try to make this short, right? Exodus 22, is it Exodus 22? 16, they brought out. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife, right? So what they're not getting, that this word entice goes to seduce, right? Goes to seduce. Entice, incite, instigate, like they say, entice something. It says enticement. Let me see. Enticement, incited, action of enticing. The actual word was seduce. Let me go to that. When you look at the other translations, it says seduce. So let's go to seduce. All right. And we'll get back on track. To persuade, right? Meaning already happening. An allegiance, to lead aside or astray. To turn aside, to lead. The sexual sense, prevailing one. To entice a woman, there we go. See, that's why I said entice a woman to surrender her chastity. So when we go here to Matthew, I'm going to jump to Matthew 1. I thought I had it up. 1 and 18. This says here, now the birth of Yahushua, they say Jesus Christ, was on the wise. When his mother, Mary, was espoused to Joseph, right? Before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. So how did this happen? Before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. And when you keep reading, it's because it wasn't the traditional sense. But when you go to Genesis 26, let's see what it says. Genesis 26. Then Isaac brought Rebekah to his mother's Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Thus Isaac was comforted. So understanding now, number one, you don't have a virgin. That's number one, right? The women may have repented. But then what happened in these schools like this, you force the man to get married or the woman to get married to the man, then you have to come to them for marriage counseling. And we don't move that way. We believe that men are spiritual enough in the truth at Great Millstone to be able to handle their own business with their own wife. It's your wife. It's not nobody else's wife. So if she's your wife, why is another man giving counseling to your wife? And this is why these women lose respect for their husbands when they got to go to these councils and these men are telling their husbands what to do. That's sad behavior, man, and you shouldn't do that. That's why we just keep it simple. We keep the women out of the business, right? They teach if you got an unbelieving spouse, although they're married according to the courthouse, you got to get rid of them. You see how this doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm going to read some commentary. I'm going to read some AI, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 22, but let's go read some commentary on Exodus real quick. This is the Cambridge. I'm just jump to the point because I read a lot of these commentaries. It says marriage kinsman in ancient Arabia, the mohar. It says was paid at the time of betrothal, right? Betrothal, and its payment ratified the engagement, right? The amount varied naturally with the relative circumstances of the two parties and was subject to mutual agreement between the suitor and the girl's family. Compensation for the seduction, right? This is what it says. Compensation for the seduction of an unbetrothed maiden, the unmarried, right, and unbetrothed daughter counts as part of a father's property. There you have it. And we're going to jump. By the loss of her virginity, her value is diminished. So her father, consequently, has to claim the compensation. Now, how does her value diminish? It really doesn't diminish. What happens is she now belongs to this man that she laid with. Because if you think about it, every virgin is going to have to lay down with a man. The value is there. The reason why they say it diminished because the father can betroth the woman to somebody else. The families had agreements. But it's like buying that new car. Once you pay for it, the value of it goes down. So that owner must keep that car until it dies. And this is the same thing with a woman. Although you don't have to keep a car, you can get rid of it. But it's still property. And this is why you have what you call titles and you sign papers. This is what the marriage and as they get that from the contracts. That's what that's all about, right? Well, however, the case contemplated, if one is not of seduction but of rape, the seduction of a betrothed maiden, right, is regarded as virtually the same thing as adultery. This dealt with in Deuteronomy 22 and 23, and we're going to get that because she's betrothed. So we go back to Deuteronomy 22. Where we at? Deuteronomy 22 and 28. I'm going to just jump to the point. 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, means she a young woman, haven't had sex, which is not betrothed, right? And lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. Because remember, this is all business, right? Like if somebody steals your car that you feel is valued and just took your car, well, you would have to pay him and pay him the amount and compensate him for his vehicle. Although you already had it, you didn't put it up for sale, right? This is why this is property, right? You didn't put it up for sale or anything. But if it was up for sale to belong to somebody else and you came along and took it, right, then you get punished. But if it wasn't up for sale, if it wasn't up for property, right, and you took it, well, you know what? Give me the value and the compensation for this vehicle. I'm just putting in those perspectives. So when they had sex, right, then they would make the contracts if there was no contract. But if they were already betrothed, how did this happen? You know? You do the marriage chamber thing and so forth, the dowry and so forth. But sex is actually marriage, right? Let's go back to Genesis 24 and 67. Now, let me go back here because there's some discrepancies on here. So if a man find and they not be found, lay hold on her. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm pretty sure not all the time when you paste it, it pulls up the actual verse. I don't know why. and sends you through a whole bunch of other ones. Yeah, like I thought. So that's Deuteronomy 22 and 28. So we're just going to do it that way. Deuteronomy 22. And we're going to go to 28. See what that says. And then we're going to look some of this stuff up, right? If a man find a damsel of virgin that will not betroth and lay hold on her. So we're going to go up to NIV. If a man happens to meet a virgin who has not been pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered. Now, you know why this is an issue with a lot of people, because that's Western culture thinking. But imagine having value in something and somebody comes along and violates that value and you lock them up for life. Well, the value of what you had is no longer there. So it doesn't help to lock the person up. So what does this person have to do? He has to take care of what he took. In other words, if she's a fit woman, she looked nice, you raped her, you took her, she got depressed and blew up to 400 pounds, you got to give the damsel father 50 shekels, right? And then you got to stay with her, no matter what she turned out to be. You know what I'm saying? As far as she's not committing adultery, but she doesn't have that look that you used to see. This Western rape is different. These jakes jump in the window. And this is a fantasy for women because they just want the right man to do it. That's all that is. You know what I'm saying? But, that, you know, Western culture. So anyway, suppose a man intercourse with virgin, engaged to be married, and if it be discovered, it says, some of them don't even want to put it in there. It says seizes her, pledged to be married, seizes her, same thing, is taken. That word is tafas, right? We went over this so many times. Seizes her. A lot of it says seizes, you know, some of it, and lay hold on her. Here we go. Suppose a woman isn't engaged to be married and a man forces her to have sex with him and is caught. Let's see what the penalties are, right? And is caught. They will be forced to get married, right? Which they already are, but the reason why in Exodus 22 and 16 it says that, because that consummates the situation, or let me say that legitimizes it to a degree with the family. But when you have sex, that union is really between you and that woman and the Most High. It tells you that. The reason why you do the other part is because of the authentication of the property of that father. That's all. He needs his 50 shekels because it's property. But we don't see that today, do we? It's amazing how this group tell you you can only have one wife because we're in captivity. But in the same captivity, right, you don't try to push this, or you do push this, and I believe Nate is the acting father. I guess. This is crazy. And it goes on to say, a man must not marry a woman who was married to his father. This would be a disgrace to the father. So, let's go on to some AI. We went into that. It pushed a Christian doctrine, but you know, myself and other brothers, we break it all down with AI. And I said I agree in consummation completes marriage, but in the ancient times, such a man that lay hold on a woman took her, he must pay the father 50 shekels of silver. As we read in Genesis 26, when Isaac just took Rebekah in his mother's tent. That would be like today, a 40-year-old man taking a 14-year-old woman, right? Because she is a woman. Today's 14-year-old women aren't real women. They're not mature enough to handle that. But although they are mature enough to do the things they do, but that would be like a man taking a 40-year-old man taking a 14 or 15-year-old woman, because Rebekah was like 14, take her in a mother's tent, which is his mother's house, and have sex with her. Do you know society today would call them the biggest deadbeat on the planet, and they would have him arrested and locked up, and they would say, damn, he didn't even have his own house. I'm just saying. His mother passed and all that. I'm just saying. It says, anyway, you're absolutely right. You're referring to the specific law from Deuteronomy 22 and 28 and 29, which states if a man seizes or takes hold of a virgin and lies with her, he must pay the father 50 shekels of silver. This passage is particularly significant because the 50 shekels of silver was substantial. This was a significant sum, roughly equivalent to what a laborer might earn in a year or more. So you had to have money to do that. It wasn't just a token payment, but a real economic compensation. The Hebrew tafas, took hold to see, suggests this wasn't necessarily consensual seduction, but could include cases where the man forcibly took the woman. The law covered situations ranging from the seduction or enticement to assault. Right? It also say consummation, your point to consummation. Once sexual union occurred, especially in these circumstances, there were no going back to the woman's previous status. So it wouldn't do good to lock this man up and put him to death. He now had to pay. I don't know, he could pay all at once or in payments, but he was in debt to the woman's previous status. The physical act created an irreversible social and economic reality that had to be addressed. I think I pretty much hit all the points here. Sex is marriage at the end of the day. And how many people, like, let's be honest, even in this society, is going to walk down the aisle, okay, get papers, and then have sex? See, the thing about nature, which goes to natural, wholesome, when you deal with nature, you look at the animals, the birds, the insects, people. Nobody says, well, this is what I'm going to do, such and such. Now, there's an order, like I said, the betrothed damsel, if she belonged to somebody, that's different. She's, but guess what? They still had sex. These guys are teaching you sex is not marriage. No wonder everybody's sleeping around and then putting on dresses and saying, okay, now it's time to get married. These guys are Christian. That's all. False Christians. That's all I have on that. Shalom.